we are here today with trumpet player Scott Ducaj. Scott owns his own production company, ZM Music. He also plays horns for artists of all types of genres, including Kenny Chesney, the 10-piece Afro-Cuban ensemble Salsa in Nashville, as well as the Grammy Award-winning blues artist Delbert McClinton. So Scott, tell us how you got started playing music in the first place.
Well, I got started pretty late in life as far as trumpet players go. A lot of folks start in the 5th or 6th grade, and I had already been hanging around musicians in the 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th grade, but didn't have any interest actually in playing music, but just hanging around with them. And eventually, when I got into the 9th grade, they were taking fun trips and doing other stuff, and so I decided I'd better get on the stick and started taking summer lessons and went back to the 5th grade band and when I think I was 15 or 16 years old, and started playing there and jumped into the band and been going ever since.
That's great. Did you go to college or anything for music?
I did. I went to New Mexico State in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which was about 5 hours from where I grew up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and got a bachelor's degree in music there. And then after that, I went on to North Texas State University and got a master's up there.
Nice.
That's in, I guess, in Denton, Texas, outside of Dallas.
Well, Scott, tell us about the company that you own, Tennessee Events. Tell us about that.
Well, what we do is we produce a lot of different festivals during the year.
Okay.
We produce like the Franklin Jazz Festival and Franklin on the 4th, and different festivals that have different types of music. And by what I mean when I say produce them, we put the music out there for them. We even put the sound and the back line and the staging out there for them. So we end up hiring about 50 to 60 bands a year for about 8 to 10 different festivals. And so that's what we do with Tennessee Events.
That's great. Well, when people think of Nashville, the Music City, USA, they always think of country. But tell us about how you have made a living playing horns for such a diverse people.
Well, you know, as you'd mentioned before, a couple of the groups that I worked with, Salsa in Nashville, one of the things we were doing was rancheros and cumbias and Cuban music.
Cool.
And, you know, and when you mentioned Delbert McClinton, most of that, what that is you think of the tunes like Back to Louisiana and things like that, and great R&B stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So Nashville is really quite diverse. You know, there's rock and roll, there's a great award-winning Nashville Symphony, and so when I go into the studios, one of the things that I do is classical, rock, jazz. You know, you might even be doing a movie score, and that can be anything. So it's behooved me to be prepared to do anything, really.
That's great. Well, Scott, you have worked with so many different types of people. Tell us about some of the artists that you've worked with.
Well, as you mentioned, I was on tour with Kenny Chesney for about 4 years, and one of the nice things about being out there with an artist like that is you also have other artists sitting in with you, folks like Steve Miller and Joe Walsh, which is great. Once again, another rock and roll diversity happening there. You know, and then you come back into town, and then this year I've got a couple of songs coming out on Faith Hill's new record, and then one coming out this month on, 2 actually, on Martina McBride's new record. So that's kind of what's going on now. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is just a quick little lick, which is something that I learned when I first started playing after about a year of playing. And what it was the first part of a Clifford Brown solo after the song called Cherokee. But the song called Cherokee goes a little bit like this. Then the ending of it goes. And run going up there is the lick that I'm talking about there, and that's the entrance to the solo. That's over the top of a C7 chord. So what you do is you start on the 5th of the scale, which is a G, and we're talking trumpet notes now, remember. That's a G, and so you go up the scale up to a D, and then you go down to the B and back up to the D again. Then I'll start on the C and straight up the top of the scale, and then back where you started, and add one note on there. So if you speed it up slowly, it's
Well, Scott, I also understand that you do some teaching as well, right?
You know, I do. One of the things that I think it's almost professional musicians' duties, as they say, is to kind of pass things on, because there's a lot of things that you can't write in books.
Yeah.
And so I'm always telling a lot of my friends that are professional players of get out there and work with some kids and work with some students and show them some of the joys of music and show them some of the things that, once again, that you wouldn't see in a book, some of the things that you can pass on, some of, learning a special lick that you might not be able to transcribe it as well as you could play it and show it, and phrasing and emphasis on certain parts that, once again, is frankly just hard to write everything down in a book. So it's great to be able to work with kids, and it also kind of reminds you of some of the things that you've forgotten that you were learning. So it kind of gets you both brushed up on things.
Well, Scott, tell us about some of your future plans. What about your website? What's going on?
Well, we do have a website. It's TN Event Info, as in TN as in Tennessee, and then eventinfo.com.
Okay.
And people can go there, and one of the things that they see there is they can fill out applications. The bands can fill out applications for all the numerous festivals that we've got.
Great.
And send in all their information there and check things out. And it's also kind of an update of all the new festivals that we're adding all the time. So it's a great place. It's always changing, so it's a great place to check out and just find out what's going on.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. It was very nice to meet you and learn all this exciting information about all these festivals and what you're doing.
Well, thank you very much for having me.